online gaming, there's just not that competitive like camaraderie, you know? When you're sitting on the couch, you know there's no ill will. You know we're sitting down to play a game, we're sitting down to have fun. This is just how we express ourselves.
Couch multiplayer revealed my aunt's secret condition she told nobody about. I found out the first time she visited us in Ireland from Nigeria, and it was couch gaming that made us really close. Again, this is the first time I had ever seen her face to face, so I was a bit standoffish initially. Until this day, I don't know if she just wanted to pretend to care or actually was interested in what I was doing, but one day she saw me gaming pretty hard on the PlayStation 2 playing Lego Star Wars, and she looked at me and she asked, "Can I play with you?" Now this was insane to my childlike mind, because at this point I was still an only child, so this idea that I could actually enjoy these games with somebody at my house, it was foreign to me. Of course I said yes, so as quickly as I could, I set up the second controller, I showed her the basic mechanics, and then we introduced her to the world of Lego Star Wars. And we were playing for a while, but I noticed a certain habit she had when we played this game. She loved to break every single item in the game for money. For all my Lego fans out there, you guys know that nearly everything in the game is breakable. So the more stuff you break, the more studs you get, which is the currency in the game. And she would make us wait back an extra like 3 to 4 minutes on every single area, so she would make sure she had the maximum amount of studs. And to a kid who just wanted to see the epic fight scenes and the boss battles, this got very annoying very quickly. And at one point I just snapped. And I was like, hey, there's no more studs left. Okay, I've played this game a million times, I've unlocked all the characters, we don't need this money. Okay, you've gotten everything, there's nothing left. And I'll never forget this to the day I die. But she said, no, there's still some left. This woman quite literally stabbed me in the back just to get more money. Like, how insane is that? I'm like 7 years old. I was mortified. This is my very first couch co-op experience at my house, and I'm getting killed again, repeatedly and repeatedly, again and again and again and again, until I had absolutely nothing left in me. I'm like 6, so I go into like a tantrum of tears, kicking my legs in the air that this is so unfair. And I'll never forget the look of satisfaction in this woman's eyes to the day I die. Okay. Despite the generational trauma this has caused, this is why I love couch multiplayer, okay? You know, I'm starting to consider myself a gamer. I've beaten my sands and baldered my gate. Pause. But after thinking for a really long time, I realized none of these games will ever beat the satisfaction I got when I used to play couch co-op. How did the simplest old school games have the biggest impact on me? What made them so good? And why are they dying? Well, for couch co-op, the reason why there's so much reward behind playing it is the trollification of it. With couch multiplayer, you're in a close proximity to other players. I know, duh, but think about the psychology of playing with friends locally versus online.
I could hop in a Mortal Kombat game right now, like an online game, play like 20 people, and I won't be able to get their frustration. All I'll see is they quit the game, or rage quits, or every once in a while a nigga will hop on mic and call me a bum ass nigga.
I get cussed out by somebody saying some crazy slurs, and I know they look like this. I know they look. Come on.
For all you know, this is just Matt from Wii Sports enacting his dominance once again. The issue is that you hear their voice, but you're forced to imagine exactly how they're feeling. But if you don't actually see their faces, it doesn't quite hit the same. Guy, the way I used to get heated, I'd almost square up to fight when I found out my friend was screen watching on 1v1s. Oh, that made me so mad.
That same competitive nature when you have a group of friends that you f with you and you're playing that shit, nah, that shit is just fun no matter what you do, I'm not gonna lie. Why do people go to EVO type shit? Have you ever seen like the energy at some EVO tournaments?
It's like more than couch, it's like totally communal, where everyone wants to be there, like standing behind.
You're not there in person, you can't feel the energy of people physically being around you, feeling the same emotion as you.
So it's like a big party.
This is why I gotta give props to sports games. Some of these companies add slightly better graphics, slap on an extra $30 to the tag, and they're like, there you go. I know friends who without a doubt will get the new copy just to make sure when an argument comes around, they can settle the debate over a game that they both play.
Playing so-and-so person's house. And I found like one cheesy move. He could not guard it. Like no matter what he did, he could not guard it. And he got like visibly like angry and annoyed and started crying. I was doing like pick and roll, pick and fade. And like I think like his dad just came downstairs, just saw everything was going on, just packed up the whole game and just packed up this kid, right? Basically, he been talking shit, talking about, oh, I could cook you in Smash Bros. Any day of the week. He used to get the bootleg Pro controller, so it's one that looks like a PS4 controller. Yeah. He plays PS4. He should be at every advantage. Tells me he already knows how to play the game. I don't play with my Joy-Cons. I only play with my Pro controller. But I'm like, all right, I guess I gotta lock in. He picks his character. I pick mine. I 3-stock this nigga 5 times. He ain't catch now 1 W.
And the thing is, it doesn't even have to have a goal. You can just mess around in the sandbox game with your buddies and that will be fun enough. The fun I'm talking about is trolling each other and pushing the limits to what a game can do. And hearing those laughs and cries in real time, it's priceless.
So yeah, Forge, you could essentially go into God mode. And what you could do is you could spawn any item that was in like the campaign. That's how like Red versus Blue made Halo through and on. Yeah, we would just stack explosives on this bits of debris and we would drive a warthog into it just to see how it would blow up and have one person film it. And we just thought, oh, that looks cool, let's do it again. Let's see how many we can stack there before like the game tries to break.
Do you know Doki Doki Literature Club, the visual novel? It's not a couch co-op game, it's actually a single player game, but we played it couch co-op. I sort of convinced everybody to come hang out with me in the living room on the couch and play through the game with me. And I sort of got them each to play a different character, so they each were voicing different characters. Each of my college dorm mates played through the game, and as we navigated the storyline, we got into the act. We like got into the characters. We had a lot of fun.
You know, technologically crazy, but also just doing it with friends. It was like, here's a creative goal to try and make something that we'll never share with anyone, but we'll just do because it was fun. And that was it, really.
My little brother was born pretty far into my gaming career, so he used to watch me play this magical box for hours on end with so much passion and focus, but could only ever watch and not play.
And you know, when you're the younger cousin, you don't ever get the stick, right?
Yeah.
So you just watching them play, and you're watching them lose and be bad, and you're like, bro, just let me get a chance, let me get a chance. You never get that controller.
Played through all of Super Mario Galaxy, and Super Mario Galaxy doesn't really have a multiplayer. It has a little brother mode.
That's a really good way to call it, little brother mode.
Yeah, well, that's what I called it, because I was the older brother and I played Mario, and my little brother played the Shooty Star character.
And after years of him asking me, I eventually said yes. And despite how it started, it turned into something amazing. On and off the game, I felt responsible for this little kid's growth. I teach him cheat codes, who the best characters were, and we shared a lot of laughter together.
BioShock games sort of like made me bond with my 4 dorm mates. Instead of each of us sort of locking ourselves down in our own room and just sort of playing some first-person shooter, we all just went into the living room, and one of our friends had a PS3 at the time. I think he hooked it up to the TV and just started playing the BioShock games. And one of us came out to hang out. We started talking and chatting, and then another one came out, and then eventually we were all just sort of hanging out, enjoying the social experience of being together, playing a game and watching a movie that we were all crafting together.
I'm still mad that I didn't ask to play with him sooner. I mean, even my sister got involved, and once we had the money, we got an extra controller and had a full-blown 4 to 5 hour gaming session of Mario Kart or Little Big Planet. And to be honest, I could make a whole video about why I loved Little Big Planet, but once again,
Like, I don't know how many people like probably know Shark Survival or Bomb Survival or Train Survival. Those were top tier competitive games to play with a group of friends when you could actually hop on Train Survival and play it over and over and over again.
Like, you're right beside each other and you're like kind of flexing your skins on each other as well. You're like, yo, I just like the Sasuke skin type shit, and your brother's like, nah, my skin is better and all this shit. It was Roblox before Roblox, and the creativity that it gave to the players to
create their own levels.
Bro, it was dead ass revolutionary the way it did things. Like, it wasn't one of those games where you got done with the story and you were finished with the game, bro. You'd only just started. Like, you literally only just started.
Bro, one of the most hype moments of when I was little was when I headed over to a friend's house to play Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2.
Naruto Storm tournaments, they were different, bro. Like, it's almost like watching an NBA game online compared to like actually being there in person.
Now, usually it was me and 2 younger brothers duking it out for second place because the older brother, Michael, bro, he was basically untouchable. Just outright better at the game, okay? Something going on in that water he was drinking.
I actually got so frustrated one time. I had to go to my auntie, bro. I said, yo, auntie, like, yo, beat Michael for me, man. Like, this is actually not cool, man.
And I had somehow scraped my way into finals, and surprisingly, pretty convincingly. I was really feeling myself for this set, and something happened. Something I don't know how else to describe other than entering the flow state. For some reason, when the match started, I was on timing. I was hitting my jutsus and combos and substituting perfectly. I was so neck and neck with this guy who barely loses that I could see him starting to worry. But he sat up to get locked in. People started jumping up and down like they had some kind of autism. It grew on me. And before I knew it, I started jumping up and down and making noises as well. I was locked in. No one prompted any of us to start singing this, but we just started belting out Naruto openings. Most specifically, Naruto opening 4, Go by Flow, as we were just going blow for blow, band for band. It was crazy. Everyone started joining in on the song as the battle transcended the game itself. My brain was outputting at 200%, neurons shooting from my eyes to my brain to my fingers at light speed.
I feel you're actually feeling the energy of the crowd around you, and you're like, and then you win or something like that, bro. You actually feel like you're in an anime.
Since online gaming has become more of a mainstream thing, you would be hard-pressed to find any multiplayer game to have a split screen or couch multiplayer feature. Well, why is this? Why are they dying out? Well, there's multiple reasons, mainly 2. Performance. We live in a world where games want to strive to be 560 frames per second with the highest resolution, where even games like 2K are bragging about their open world content. What's going on, bro? Basically a lot of fluff on the screen. Now imagine trying to emulate all of that twice on the same screen. I mean, we look at low poly aesthetic for old games with nostalgia, but they're only like this because of the limited hardware it was on. Multiple people online have spoken about the almost unplayable feature that is split screen. Look, it's simple maths, guys. Here we have 2 gamers that want to play My Little Pony Maritime Bay Adventure, and instead of making one person buy the console in the game, you can easily just remove the split screen, and now in order for them to play this game, they both gotta purchase the console and the product. Donks go up. There is data to still show that people still rank couch co-op / competition as their most preferred way to game, and online gaming with randoms as their least. So maybe it's just a lack of publishers making games that fit that box. And from a business perspective, it makes perfect sense for companies to never make couch multiplayer games in the masses again. Any company would be silly to break this norm. Of course, that would be true if Nintendo didn't exist. Look, Nintendo is a very mixed bag in terms of caring about their gamers, but one thing I will give them flowers for is their dedication for keeping the couch multiplayer scene alive. Nintendo has yet to stop making big AAA games where the main premise is how you interact with players locally. Do you know how many hours I clocked into that Mario franchise? Me and my siblings would be begging our parents to buy every release because we knew a co-op game like New Super Mario Bros. Were the only way my siblings would ever get a chance to even touch the console because I didn't like to share.
It's like literally anybody can play. If anybody comes to our house as well, they can play. If you brought your controller, if you gave them this and try to explain to them how to use this, it would not make any sense. Whereas you're giving them like a remote on their hand like this, and like you're telling them to move their hands like this, it's straightforward, you know what I mean? I could say we could easily play like 8 games in a day, like from Wii Sports to Wii Sports Resorts, Super Smash Bros, Brawl, Mario Kart, like literally everything, and a bunch of like demo games out of on my Wii.
To play, I used to bring my Switch, my whole Switch and dock to my classrooms. I have people coming from across the school to come play. I end up playing with my mom and my family and my girlfriend, and it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't matter who you are, you know who Mario is. You at least know who Pikachu is, right? So come pick up the sticks and let's play, and you kind of build a bond off of like how do you play your character.
In this day and age, when almost all the socializing we do is from our phones and computer screens, there's little to no time to connect more deeply over things like games as much as we did with couch multiplayer. I mean, yes, you can still definitely connect with others online, but for those who grew up in that era, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean when there is some irreplaceable memories you have with local play with friends and siblings. Staying up late building bases, challenging each other to the 200th 1v1 of the night, but you know, don't hear what I just have to say. See what some other people have to say. Has any games that you played as like a couch co-op or couch competitive from back in the day or still now made you closer with someone in your life?
My mate who introduced me to Left 4 Dead, I then became friends with, you know, his brother, some of his mates, but we kind of progressively got closer because we all realized, oh, we only like to play games. There's no other kinds of outlets besides sport for young people. Gaming was all we had. Those group of friends I'm still in a Discord with, and I still like hang out and talk with. And we may not always play the same games, but I wouldn't be hanging out with them if I hadn't played those games with them when we were younger.
Primary school, right? Like I had like a really close friend. Literally, I still remember the first thing I said to him, right? Do you have a PS2 or something like that? Go over to that guy's house like nearly like every week. We sit over and we'll be playing like Black Ops or some shit like that.
I did not talk to my roommate at all, not once. Most of the semester we didn't talk. Then one day he was like, oh, I see you have Smash Bros, let's get on the sticks. I'm like, okay. And I busted that nigga every time, but still, it was like, I love learning about people. So, but I've always been low-key bad at it. But Smash is one of those things that makes it simple. Questions that they ask that tell you how they want to play, that tell you kind of just like who they are. I remember my girlfriend, when she started to play with me, she wanted to play Steve. So I teach her how to play. She's picking this shit up like this. All of a sudden, she's running minecart into block into TNT combos on me. I'm like, I never knew she was this good at setting shit up, but I keep that in mind, right? Then come Valentine's Day, she's getting me presents that I would have never thought of. But it's stuff like that lets me know, oh, you're really a prepper, and I could see that in how we played Smash that one day.
I said to a friend that I had never played Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and he had a hacked Wii. There's an item in the game called the Iron Boots. They make you extremely slow. Essentially, the game sort of punishes you for wearing them by making you walk really slow. And I said to a friend, oh man, wouldn't it be funny if I just kept these on for the rest of the game? And the friend was like, no, you're not going to do that. And I was like, you can't just say you're not going to do that.
Yeah. Because
now I'm going to do that. I kept the Iron Boots on. In doing so, I broke the game in a few places, and I learned how to sort of move more quickly with the Iron Boots. If you lock on and then keep sidestepping, you can mash the little sidestep jump button. My strategy became to, instead of walking places, I would turn 90 degrees to the side.
You know, I'm 23 now, and I'm finding a lot more often I'm having old relatives contact me and trying to reconnect. And recently, I got a call from my aunt. She's like, my son, how are you? And I'm like, Auntie, I'm fine. I've got a big mommy. She's like, Big mommy, I'm fine. Everything's good. She's like, oh, my boy, I saw the TikTok and I saw that you went to Japan and I saw the videos. I'm like, oh, thank you, big mommy. I really appreciate it. And she's like, oh, and I also saw you graduated with an engineering degree, my boy. And I'm like, oh, you know, wish I got a job, but thank you. And you know, I just want to see how she's doing. So I'm like, oh, big mommy, how are you? She says, oh, it's not good though. It's not good. My car is broke down. I don't have the money to pay for it. It's just, this country is finished my life. It's tough. It's really tough. I'm really struggling. And the first thing that came to my mind was, good. I'm glad you're in a dilemma. Because you stole my studs. Yeah, I didn't forget. I did not forget. I hope someone comes out of nowhere with a huge lightsaber and destroys your car. And then explodes into 1,000,000 studs. And then he takes off his hoodie and he's just a giant stud staring at you. Because that's what you do. I haven't forgotten. Karma. This is a joke. It's a joke. Okay, obviously I didn't say these things. But despite the anger and betrayal I felt at the time, I still really think fondly of that memory. I got the chance to experience a game with someone at my house for the very first time. And this is something that becomes a point of discussion every time we talk. We laugh about it to this day. And I always tell her, you know, that was the moment I realized you were the cool aunt. There's no moral with this video. Online gaming seems so seamless that there probably is moments you can share that are just as high as the moments you had during the couch local play. But to be honest, the point of this video was just for me to reminisce about the times I had playing couch with the boys, playing couch with my family and friends, and just treasuring those moments because they're not coming back. And hopefully it spurs some memories when you were playing some couch games with your siblings or with your family or with anybody that would sit down and game with you. Because in this life, you can't go back in the past. These memories are memories for a reason. But at least reminiscing on these memories with the people you made them, you know, the feeling, it's pretty close.